Hi there, welcome to the Soolip Fix. I'm Wanda, and here I am in the parking lot of my studio. Welcome. I am just sitting here and enjoying this beautiful day. It's sunny. It's the reason why I love living in California is the winters. It's just beautiful. And I have this idea of a project that I wanted to share with you today, which is just incorporating found nature's elements. And I was sitting here looking at just these little leaves, and I thought, well, I'm gonna share this with my followers. So I love these little pine needles. We had a little windstorm, and last week there were so many needles on the earth, and I thought, okay, because I was planning this episode, and I was thinking I'm going to use these, and all of a sudden I come out today and see that there's really not a lot out here because the people that clean this parking lot had swept everything up, but there's enough here to work with. And those of you that live within a lot of nature, you have an abundance to work with. All right, I think I have enough. All right, look at these. Beautiful shades of nature right here in this gorgeous, gorgeous parking lot. All right, you coming with me? All right, let's go. Okay, back in my studio. Now, what do I have in store for you? Remember last week we did maybe it wasn't last week, but the week before we did some projects with the wax paper. Well, I'm gonna show you how to make some cards out of the wax paper and featuring the leaves. So I'm just gonna take regular old wax paper. You can get this at any grocery store. Super inexpensive, completely creative, and the possibilities of wax paper are endless. So wax paper usually comes in a container like so, and it has like a perforated edge, and then you're supposed to tear it. And actually, I'll just tear it. But when you do, you get you get this, like uneven edges, but we'll work around that. Okay. Or you can simply roll it out and, using a cutting mat like so. I love cutting mats, and those of you that are seamstresses, I don't know what the right word is, usually have a large cutting mat, but I love having this personal mat for my own work, and it could fit on any desktop. And what I'm using is a straight edge, just an X-Acto knife, and this allows me to get just clean edges. So my goal is to create a card that goes in this funky shaped envelope, and you'll see what I mean. So I'm gonna cut out two pieces, and not to worry that they're the exact same size, because in the end we're going to trim it completely together so that they are the top and the bottom of the wax paper are completely in line with each other. Okay, so I've got two pieces of wax paper, and I love these envelopes. I love paper, but I just have this thing about envelopes, and this envelope is from the ARPA paper mill, and what I love about it is the shape. It's like, it just has this unique shape, and I love the pointed flap on this. This is a handmade envelope, so it's got beautiful deckled edges, and so I want to make a card for this envelope. And if you have a different shape envelope, of course, you can make a different size, a different shape card. So I'm going to take a piece of, this is also ARPA paper. It's handmade. ARPA is made of cotton and a little bit of linen. So If you've got a funny shaped envelope, which in this case it is, and it's hard to find a card for it, simply just make one. And you can take a, you can take a piece of paper and, essentially if you've got an envelope, this envelope is just over 9 1/4 inches. So I want to make this end card about, let's say 8 5/8. So I'm going to measure this paper out, 8 5/8. And I'll tell you, I'm going to show you a trick of how to get, instead of using a straight edge or a scissor or a blade and getting a clean edge, I want to have a deckled edge, sort of a hand-torn look. So I'm just going to show you how you can achieve that. So what did I say, 8 1/4? I'm so sorry. 8 5/8. Okay, so 8 5/8, I'm going to measure that out. I don't have I have a little pen here, I'm going to use that. 8 5/8. I'm just going to put a little mark here so I can see. And then I'm going to use my grid on this board. This is really handy. I'm going to use this grid, place my straight edge along this, the mark that I made. I'm just going to use this bone folder. Also another tool that I really recommend, because this comes in handy for a lot of different things. So I'm just going to imprint a mark on this paper so that I know where to fold. Okay, so this gives me a nice fold line. Okay, I'm going to use this bone folder just to crease it, and then I'm going to bend it back on itself. Okay, crease it again. What we're doing is basically loosening up the fibers in this paper. So now that I have a nice crease, just simply going to tear along the crease. And if you could see how it's creating this natural edge so that it looks like the edge that was already made when the paper was handmade. Okay, so now that I have the length, I'm going to measure the width, and the width of this, I'm going to make the end card. Usually when I'm making a card that wants to fit inside an envelope, I like to give myself a measurement of about, especially if it's handmade or a hand-torn paper, about 1/4 inch on all sides. So since this envelope is 3 5/8, I'm going to make this end card 3 3/8. Okay, so I'm going to measure 3 3/8. 1, 2, 3. I'm just going to make a little mark. I'm not going to use my pen because it leaves a mark right there. I'm just going to use this. Now I can't even see it. Okay. Actually, I do need my pen. I would do this with a pencil, but I don't have one on me. So right here. Okay. And I'm going to again use my bone folder. I'm going to place my straight edge just along the inside of that little mark I just made, making sure that my straight edge is in line and everything is square to each other. These grids on this cutting mat make this process really handy. Okay, so this is looking, no, I made this too, duh, I measured the wrong way. Okay, 3 3/8, I made this 3 5/8. This looked a little bit wide. Okay, 3 3/8. I see that, okay. I'm really not together this morning. I think it's because I went out with my partner last night, and it was Friday, and I had a margarita, and I stayed up a little bit too late. But it's okay. We're gonna have fun today. Right, Ian? Okay. All right. Okay. There you go. I want to make my fold along that line. I'm going to crease it with my bone folder. The reason why I like to crease with the bone folder versus my fingers is that, you know, we have natural oils in our fingers, so it's just nice to keep your paper, especially since it's ivory, to keep it clean. All right, and I'm just gonna tear, and again, you see that beautiful tear. All right, and now I have this handmade card that I'm gonna make sure that it fits inside this envelope. Yes, it does perfectly. Okay. All right, so now here's where the wax comes into play. I'm gonna take this wax. First, I'm going to line my surface with a cotton sheet. Any old cotton sheet. You could recycle. You can recycle an old bed sheet or a dish towel. So you just want something to cover your surface. And then I'm going to take the wax paper, and wax paper has it has a specific side. One side doesn't have wax and the other one does. So make sure that you place for the bottom sheet the wax facing up, and then I'm going to place these leaves. Let's see. Wow, these are kind of dry. If you had more moist leaves, here's one that's wet. If you had more moist leaves, it actually would work out better. Actually, it doesn't really matter, as long as they're flat. But we'll see what happens. Okay, I'm open for this. All right, so I'm making this little design, and okay, making this little design with these leaves, and yeah, I don't know, these leaves are pretty. Now here's where moisture would, if the leaves were a little bit more supple, but these, we have such dry weather in California that although we had some rain earlier, these leaves are quite dry. Okay, now I'm going to take the other piece of wax. I'm going to place the wax side down so that basically the waxy sides of the paper kiss each other. All right. And you have to be very careful when you do this, because I made this design that I want to essentially maintain. And because these leaves are curling, it's a little bit, it's just giving me a little bit of a challenge, but it's okay. It's all right. Okay, so I have my design. I'm going to carefully release my hands and take this other sheet and place it very carefully on top of the whole thing. I hope that my leaves stayed in place. Okay, then I'm going to take my iron. So this iron is on a sort of medium, maybe just over medium to high setting, and I'm just going to iron the sheets together. So basically the heat is coming through the cotton sheeting, and it's essentially melting the two pieces of wax paper together and sandwiching the leaves that I found. I love the heat of the iron. You know, I used to iron a lot more when I was younger. I used to sew, but these days I'm not much of an iron user. Okay, all right. Let's see if this took. I hope it did. I hope it did. Okay. I think it's good. Okay, I'm gonna put these aside. Aw, here you go. All right, so now that I have this, I kind of liken these as like stained glass. You could actually do, I once did an installation, And I made a bunch of these and I just mounted them in my window, and it was such a nice thing for me to look at every day. Okay, so now I'm gonna take this and I'm going to I wanna basically make this the same size as this card, and you'll see what I'll do with this later. Okay, so I'm using the same measurement. I'm just gonna use this as a eyeball to make sure that I trim this paper with this design that I made in the to be in the center of this card. Okay, so so this is why also, you know, you want to, when you create or when you pull out the wax paper, you're going to have you want to set yourself up with pieces of wax paper that are just a little bit larger than your desired size, so that you can then go back and trim, and so that you have excess paper and excess space to trim out. Okay, so again, using my straight edge, and here I do want a straight edge, so I'm using my X-Acto blade. I highly encourage you to use a straight edge that is metal versus plastic, because when you use a plastic straight edge against an X-Acto blade, sometimes the X-Acto blade may sort of curve in, and then it'll cut the plastic, and then you've got really like a straight edge, not straight edge. And so, because it'll leave a nick in your plastic. So, just a piece of advice to get a metal straight edge, a metal ruler. All right. Okay, or they make wood rulers that have a metal edge on one side. So you can use that too. All right, here we go. So I have this beautiful piece of wax paper stained glass. And basically what I'm gonna do with this is I'm going to, I wanted to write a letter to my brother. This is I just wanted to write a letter to my brother. And I am using a purple ink. In one of my former episodes, I talked to you about, in one of my former episodes, I can't even talk. I talked to you about using different ink colors, and I really encourage that. I mean, God, I have this piece of hair in my mouth. Okay. All right. I see some hair in my mouth, and it's not going away, and it's really bothering me. All right. Okay. Anyways, try to use different color inks because it's so much fun, and it's just better than just always sticking with blue and black. I mean, there's nothing wrong with blue and black, but have some fun. So this is purple ink. I'm writing a letter to my brother. He sent me this great basket from Harry and David, which is, Harry and David is a company out of Medford, Oregon, which I'm from Grants Pass. So it actually is, I feel like it's coming from my hometown. But anyways, it was full of just beautiful pears and salami and crackers and chocolate. And anyways, I'm not going to write the full letter on screen. I'll finish it later. But I just wanted to show you that use colored ink. So much fun, okay? And I'm basically going to then make this a little gift, and I'm going to take some gold twine. This I know is very hard to see on camera, but it's very, very fine. And so after you write your letter, and again, I'm not going to bore you with writing it completely on camera, but I'm just going to take this and I'm going to wrap it around in a motion that is going to my right. God, I'm thinking as I'm doing this, if I should just, even though I want to use this twine, if I should use something that's thicker just so you can see. So what's happening is I wrapped it with the wraps about 1 inch apart in a diagonal fashion over to my right, and now I'm going back on itself, wrapping it over to my left. So there actually is an amazing pattern that's happening, and just a little detail, you know. I know I always talk about detail in everything you do, and when there's thought put into different steps of whatever you're doing, it just elevates the entire experience and the entire item of whatever you're creating. And so here I am, my 2 ends meet, and I'm just simply going to tie a knot, and I'll have Ian zoom in on this after I'm done so that you can really see this. So I know a lot of my work is very subtle, but I just love that. It's like little whispers of love. Okay, so I'm gonna move my, God, this piece of hair. Jeez, driving me crazy. All right, so here's my letter to my brother. And can you see that? Do you see that diagonal, you know, so the diagonal movement of the twine going one way, and then I wrapped it back the other way, and then so now you have this beautiful piece that will go inside this great, sexy envelope. I'm going to eventually, because these envelopes don't come gummed. Back in the olden days, you know, you used paste to seal the envelopes, and then you seal it. All right, and now I can address this and send it off to my brother. All right, thank you so much. Sorry for the blip. Just thanks for coming, and stay tuned. I have more that I want to show you, and subscribe. Please tell your friends, and thank you for coming. Have a great day. Bye.